I was familiar with John Hersey's work as the author of Hiroshima, but I had never heard of this novel until 2 or so years ago. Although it is a work of fiction, it's based on the experiences of real people during the Allied campaign against the fascists in Sicily. The central character is Major Giappolo of the United States Army, as he is made military governor of the port town of Adano. He takes seriously his duty to improve the lives of the people and prove that Americans are there as enemies of the fascists and not enemies of Italian citizens. Faced with the immediate and practical matters of trying to help the civilian population rebuild their lives, he also discovers a significant portion of the town is despondent because Mussolini had their 700-year-old church bell taken away, melted down, and turned into munitions. The bell had been central to town life for generations, and they want a worthy replacement. Although Giappolo is the main character, there are frequent asides that examine the lives of other characters, such as some of the townsfolk of Adano, members of the United States Armed Forces stationed there, and people involved in the logistical and bureaucratic aspects of the war effort. On occasion, the townsfolk reminded me of something like the chorus of an ancient Greek play. There is an uneven quality to this book. The sometimes sudden shifts from slapstick goofball shenanigans into loss and tragedy weren't my main concern, but I can see how that could be jarring. Instead, I mean that even though it's written in a terse journalistic style, some parts have much more focus and resonance than others. Similarly, sometimes the same character is more like a caricature in one chapter, but in another chapter there is a sensitive and humane exploration of their life. It's not like there is a shift in point of view or a revelation or sudden discovery that would lead to this shift in our understanding. I don't think the novel is incoherent, but it reads like some sections got much more attention and care than others. A primary concern of the novel is to examine what good leadership looks like and what it can cost someone to be a good and just leader. The Major's position is initially met with skepticism because the people of Adano are used to crooked local leaders and self-important fascists who put their own needs before the needs of the community. Major Giappolo has to work against that history, and the question of finding a replacement bell becomes emblematic of this contrast between leaders who think that being in charge allows them to take with impunity, and leaders who think that being in charge means thoughtful regard for the people under their care. Tied into this exploration of leadership is also a critique of the structure and concerns of the larger military bureaucracy, where supply line mismanagement and the inflated egos among some of the officers end up causing more problems for Giappolo and the people of Adano than the rumored fascists in the hills or the mafia. There is a thinly fictionalized version of General Patton that does the man no favors. Even though A Bell for Adano won the Pulitzer Prize, it is a less accomplished and less powerful novel than Hersey's more famous book, Hiroshima. This novel can also read like it belongs in the whole subgenre of stories where World War II is part of the setting, but the combat experiences aren't the concern of the book. However, A Bell for Adano has a different flavor in no small part because it was written by someone who was a war reporter covering the events during World War II. Even though it covers some of the same ground, this novel lacks the satire or subversion of Joseph Heller's Catch-22. Ultimately, A Bell for Adano isn't a bad book, and it might be surprising and possibly a pleasant change of pace for someone looking for a World War II story that isn't about the epic conflict that has become part of modern mythology. But what do you, the audience at home, think? Have you read A Bell for Adano? Does it sound like an interesting offbeat World War II novel? Does its lack of refinement sound like an obstacle or an asset to its attempt at timely realism? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Next in the Box of Paperbacks is the lyrical fantasy novel The Sorcerer's Ship by the artist Hans Bach. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my peculiar notions. If you appreciate this channel and want to support it, you know what to do. You can also take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel of another YouTube creator you enjoy. Until next time, read some good books, live, and be well.